On today's 7th Circle Gaming, we're building cities and managing commanderies in Ballads of Hongye. Apologies if I didn't say that anywhere near correctly. The way we're going to begin, as we usually do, with the full disclosure. And as always, you're perfectly welcome to pause the video now and read through all of these at your leisure. Or if you prefer not to, we'll jump right into our first screenshot. In our first screenshot, we're going to be taking a look at the user interface and the game world on its own. What we're seeing here is something that's not too dissimilar to other games of the city builder genre. We have the economic and social indicators at the top center of the screen, as well as a build menu at the bottom center of the screen, and a couple of mission indicators in the menu bar at the top right corner. At the top left corner is part of the role-playing game aspect of the game, which we'll come back to later. We'd also want to draw your attention to the fact that we're looking at somewhere in around the 1700s of Chinese history. And with that, we're going to move on to our second screenshot, which illustrates the overworld of Ballads of Hongye. Again, apologies for my pronunciation. Throughout the game, the player is going to be given the opportunity to acquire additional counties or commanderies to govern. These are going to be acquired through the completion of various missions, which amount basically to meeting various resource goals. And moving on then, we mentioned the role-playing game aspect of the game earlier, and now we're going to come back to that here, which is the technology tree and the role-playing game aspect of the game. Here, players are going to be able to unlock additional bonuses for additional technologies for their civilization. And with that, there isn't much more to say about this. It's pretty typical for the genre, so let's move right along. We're going to show you this screen too, because this is the market screen, which players must first unlock by using the screen that we just saw. But this is going to be another major way that players will be acquiring income in Ballads of Hongye. Pretty self-explanatory here, so let's move on. In our first chapter, which as always is immersion, the game has earned a 5 out of 15. The game will be attempting to utilize presentation to get players invested into its game world. It's presented in an isometric viewpoint with a steampunk art style not too dissimilar to certain animes. The player will be given the opportunity to shape their world through choices that they make about buildings that they build and upgrades that they choose to research or not research. The main challenge of the game is coming through planning ahead. The game will also be attempting to utilize statistics to get players invested into its game world, in the sense that the in-game items have statistics attached, such as the amount of production in various seasons, because that's going to play a major role in the game. Finally, the game will be attempting to utilize audio to get players invested into the game world, and this is largely going to take the form of culturally appropriate music. There are not many voice lines in the game that we've been able to find. And with that, we move to difficulty. Here, Ballads of Hongye has earned a 6.5 out of 15. While the user interface is not unreasonable, nor the controls unusual, the game modes differ only in the frequency of disasters or unrest that that players will encounter. We have found that selecting a specific building can be somewhat challenging. The game also has a fairly limited tutorial, which doesn't cover a couple of essential aspects of the game. For that reason, we would say that the game also could be said to have an optimal order of unlocks that players will need to learn if they're going to achieve maximum success in the game. And speaking of success, we're going to ask the question now of how long are players going to be playing Ballads of Hongye? Here in Lasting Appeal, the game has earned a 3 out of 15. The game does not have any mod support, and it's not likely to have any mod support added later. The game also seems to have DLC that is cosmetic. Again, that could change later. There are, however, multiple gameplay modes with various degrees of challenge, although, as we said earlier, the major difference seems to be in the amount of, for lack of a better word, unfairness that the game is going to have. We would add, too, that from all of our evaluation sessions, that the time commitment for this game is fairly significant if players are expecting to see significant progress. So, overall, Ballads of Hongye has earned a 4.83 out of 15. Players should anticipate long, potentially 30, 45 minutes, or even 1 hour long play sessions if they're going to see significant progress. The art style may appeal to some players, but not necessarily all. There is a lack of map modes in the game that players may expect if they are familiar with the city builder genre. The game does endorse a significant amount of learning by doing rather than learning by tutorial. And now on to a couple of subjective statements before we end the video. So have those grains of salt ready. From what we've seen in our evaluation sessions, the appeal falls off fairly sharply. Once players get to a certain state, they essentially don't have to touch their civilizations. We've also found through our play sessions that it certainly seems like there is an optimal unlock or an optimal play style in the game. And if players haven't uncovered that after the first, second, or even third attempt at the game, that they should expect failure. And with that, there really isn't anything more to say about this particular game, and we apologize, we won't butcher the title anymore. So, if you did make it all the way to the end from 7th Circle Gaming, thank you very much. We look forward to seeing you on the next one. Feel free to share any comments in the comments section below, or again, we'll see you on the next video. And goodbye.